Hello everybody, and welcome back to Madden 2002 in the Buffalo Bills franchise mode. We are looking over some standings here. The Broncos have already clinched a playoff berth here, look to be clinching the number 1 seed if they can win another game or so. The Ravens have already clinched the North at 11-3. The Colts and Chargers, Jags, and Raiders all in the mix here, looking to clinch a spot here within the next week or so. And then you see the Dolphins in our division sitting at 7-7 at the 7 seed, and then we sit behind them currently at the 8 spot, also at 7-7. So one of us is going to grab the 4 seed because, as you noticed, there was only 2 or 3 division leaders at the top there. And so here's a look at the AFC East here. The Jets and Patriots just about out of it. Of course, I think if both the Dolphins and the Bills and us finished 7-9, and the Patriots or Jets are able to win out and go 8-8, they could probably win the division, but... So it's really just kind of in a sandwich right here, but it looks like 8-8 or 9-7 is going to be the threshold to win the AFC East this year, which I talked about a little bit in the last video, and that is a very attainable goal for us, like a very attainable goal. We've already grabbed 2 crucial wins in the previous video to get us back to 500, so now if we can just win an extra game, or the Dolphins might lose one, because I'm pretty confident that the Jets and Patriots will finish closer to 6-10 than they will to 8-8, so they'll probably lose at least one more game here, and at best finish 7-9, but I think we can avoid that by just winning at least one of these 2 games here. So an 8-8 finish, it's not going to be anything to brag about, but that will at least give us the best possible chance of winning the division, because we'll at that point just basically be fighting with the Dolphins and seeing what they do. But we'll be monitoring that, of course, after this game, because this is week 15, and then the next video is going to be the final week of the season, week 16. We don't have a week 17 because there's no bias. I've explained it. But after this game, we'll be looking further at the playoff standings, but I just wanted to show you guys exactly where we stand heading into our second to last game here against the Cleveland Browns, which I've taken all this time to talk about. To yap about. We're not even talking about the opponent in front of us here. A 2-win Cleveland Browns team that's dealing with a little bit of injury, nothing too severe. They still have their starting quarterback and stuff like that, and a lot of their big playmakers, but there were a couple guys I noticed that were probable and doubtful, so the Browns have been dealing with something over there in Cleveland. Typically just being the Cleveland Browns is what they deal with every week of every year. But this season's no different here, and after 1 quarter of play, all we managed to scrub away with is 1 field goal, so we cannot play these close, tough, sketchy games here with an opponent like the Browns. We need to win this game. It's inexcusable if we don't manage to win this game here, but Tim Couch is moving the Browns into plus territory here, and Tim Couch is an interesting guy in this game here. The last 2 seasons he's posted basically identical stats, and they're not even bad. Over 3,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, and just 12 interceptions. Like, it's a decent, like, if you're the Browns and you're winning 2 games, I'd be happy to have Tim Couch as my quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty good, but we know how happy I was to have Tim Couch as our quarterback in the Raiders series, but this is a different world, different Tim Couch, guys, different era. But the Browns are still moving here offensively, and now Prentice, who was probable heading into this game here, nursing an injury, and Prentice is able to get into the end zone and get himself the first touchdown of the game for either team. So the Browns take the lead here. Now we have to answer back here with a lot of time left in the second quarter. Dilfer back to pass here, fires it off to the right side of the field, and it's Westbrook, and he evades the pressure. Now it's a foot race inside the 30 here, inside the 20. Is anyone going to catch up to the shoestrings? Absolutely not. And Westbrook able to get into the end zone here on a quick pass that maybe should have only gotten 15 to 20 yards, but instead it ends up being a touchdown as Westbrook able to evade the defenders and just rely on the legs to get him in the end zone. So a big chunk play, man. We saw that happen last video against us, and now we've got a chunk play or 2 of our own, and so now we retake the lead here over the Browns. But Couch and these Browns are moving, man. They are moving. They are not being silenced. They are not being silenced nearly as easily as we thought. As William Floyd, the fullback, able to run a route and get himself a reception. So 1st and 10 here. The Browns moving with some purpose because time is of the essence, and that's what happens when you move a little bit too fast. Tim Couch throwing a catch out to Winfield's area, and now Winfield finally catching one off here, snipping one off, cutting that play off and getting an interception. So 1st and 10 now, heading the other direction with about a minute and a half left to work. Dilfer deep shot downfield, and Eric Moulds comes down with it, breaks a tackle, and then he's brought down by a couple other Browns just shy of the Cleveland 30-yard line. So there's Eric Moulds getting involved. He had a big chunk play last game. He had a great game in the Titans game, so good to see he's still working. Or I think in the Vikings game. And then 1st and 10 here, still moving here, and it's Eric Moulds once again breaking more tackles, and he's tasting end zone. He wants end zone. He's right there. He's at the precipice. He wants it, man. Tackled inside about the 2 or 1 yard line, and he's going to see if he can't punch it in, or hopefully we can punch it in here as we have about a minute left to work. But Eric Moulds is finding a way to get open, man, in this Cleveland secondary, which I would imagine is pretty bad. It's probably the worst defense we've played all season. just by the metrics here. I don't know for certain, just by the metrics. That would be my guess. But first and goal here now for the Bills. We're going to head off to Sammy Morris and, of course, let the big man finish what he does best. So typically it's a Travis Hunter type of situation where we're going to give it to Sammy Morris, who hasn't done a lot this game, but do not worry. He's coming into this game with over 1,600 yards, and now that's his 22nd touchdown of the season. And now we extend our lead to 10 points over the Browns at the end of the first half. And on the third quarter, Sammy Morris, again, we were talking about him. His nose was itching, I guess. He was itching to get out there and get a nice play. But not too much happening, just a first down, but we will happily take it, man. You can get the first downs, you can also get the chunk plays, right? And vice versa. So good on him. But now we have another 3rd and 1, and we're going to put it right back in 33's hands, and he gets the first down for us once again. So we are moving slowly here. Slowly but surely, we are moving the football. And we're in a good spot here. Actually, it was Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was out there. See, I told you, the short yardage stuff is Travis Hunter typically. And I don't know why he didn't score that last touchdown, but it's fine. We'll take the stat padding for Sammy Morris. I'm okay with it. So nothing else happens in the third quarter. We're going to continue our drive in the fourth quarter. Dilfer floats this one to the end zone, and that pass is broken up to Molds as finally Cleveland has gotten smart, and they got 2 guys out there protecting number 80. That might be the only way that you're stopping them, honestly. It might be the only way. So 4th and 7, bring out Christie for a chip shot field goal just inside the 20. The kick is up, and it is good. So that extends our lead 20-7 over Cleveland here, but one score could get the Browns back into this one. Whether or not they could get the ball back and score twice in this amount of time with how lifeless they've been in the second half, I don't know, but one touchdown will certainly change things for the Browns, and Couch is trying to get that to happen here as he lays up an absolute deep shot downfield. And then finally, we're going to talk about a Cleveland receiver, and Kevin Johnson, who comes down with it, who's also had a good season. That might get him close to 1,000 yards on the year. And he's almost got 10 touchdowns as well. So good season here in receiving for Cleveland. It's just we're not really seeing a whole lot of that in this game here as Couch finds another open Cleveland receiver across the middle of the field. And I believe it might be Richard Stokes, the rookie. I don't have his number wrote down, but I believe it's Richard Stokes, the rookie. But I don't. We're going to need to review that. Someone needs to review that. As Prentice diving catch here in the back of the end zone, it looked for certain that he was out of bounds, or at least did not come down with 2 feet in bounds. I don't know that, but they're going to give it to him. So 14-20 is your score. Cleveland now trying to get a last gasp here. They do have the ball back. They were able to stop us, and they are now moving offensively. It's Stokes again, the rookie from Eastern Kentucky, managing. Yeah, it is Stokes. I was right. Stokes, the rookie from Eastern Kentucky, managing to get the Browns deep into Bills' territories. Couch, man, he's still moving the guys, man. I told you his numbers, man. He's having a good year, having a decent year. It's not too bad. If you're a struggling team, you probably want that kind of quarterback production on your side. That's what I would think. So 2nd and 10 now for Cleveland. And Couch under some pressure, and he's going to get sacked here as pressure gets in and gets home, and it's going to be Keith Newman, the linebacker, who's able to penetrate and get to Tim Couch. Now it's 3rd and 16, but the Browns, with not much time left, are going to have to run the hurry up here inside of 2 minutes. They have enough time, but they're still going to try and move a little bit of tempo here. That's what the CPU does. And on 3rd and 16, that pass is broken up by Nate Clements, man. Good play, man. Way to get your hand up there and break that pass up without drawing a penalty and without allowing that pass to be caught. Amazing. So 4th and 16, Browns down to the last possible chances here. Pressure's on. Couch has to move out of the pocket, steps all the way up as far as he possibly can, and throws a bit of a wobbler and just a broken up play here. Tries to find Chiarvini. He's got a funny name. So that's going to be a turnover on downs. Now on 3rd and 4, the Browns could stop us again, but Sean Bryson has other plans, so he's going to ice this game, get the first down, and plenty more. Heading towards the sideline, but it doesn't matter. Clock's going to run, and we are going to walk away victorious against these Cleveland Browns. We hold on. So there was a bit of a late game rally there, but we were still able to hold on and do what we needed to do to grab a win against a very bad team. A very bad team who might be lucky to win 3 games this year. I don't know if it's possible for them. They might finish 2-14, which would be crazy. But a first pick recipient is what we're looking at here with the Cleveland Browns. So they might be a trade partner in the future because their picks probably going to be pretty high value. Just I need to put a pin in that for the offseason. Future off seasons, I need to put a pin in that. So kind of a run-of-the-mill game for us. Nothing really, again, jumping off the screen. But what really makes me happy about this performance against the Browns is it's a very rare example this season of like just doing enough to win. You know what I mean? You need to have it, got to have the win, and you're doing enough to win. Trent Dilfer I was trying to say Tim Couch. Trent Dilfer, not a great game. They are really like the same kind of quarterback to me. I don't know why. I completely wrong on that, I'm sure, but like just the same kind of archetype to me, man. Just the same kind of archetype. But either way, so we do pick up a huge win against Cleveland here, and I'm just happy that we were able to do that. But now looking over at the standings again, so the Broncos have clinched the West. The Ravens, of course, still have the North. The Colts here have clinched a playoff berth, but the Jags are still in play for the AFC South, and then the Chargers would obviously be another wild card since the Broncos have won the division. And now we are currently sitting. We're listed 6, but we would be the 4th seed at 8-7. So we would be. So this is pretty much your playoff field here between those top teams. We're basically just waiting on who's going to win the AFC East. The Dolphins lost in Week 15, so they're at 7-8. So we're in good position. So we are now going to be heading into Week 17. All we need is a loss for the Dolphins, who are playing the Vikings, who are also. We're going to look at the NFC playoff picture in a second. They are also playing for their playoff lives here because in the NFC they have a humongous sandwich of 8-win teams, and so I don't think the Vikings finish 8-8. They could make the playoffs still, but the Bears at 9-6 are looking to clinch the North. So the Vikings really need to win here to give themselves a chance to win their division and really seal up their playoff chances. Regardless, just need to win and finish 9-7, and they do manage to do it here as they beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins lose out the last 2 weeks of the season and finish 7-9, and with us at 8-7. All we need to do is essentially, nothing. Essentially nothing. So we've already, because the Dolphins have swept us in the season series, I'm pretty sure. So we just need to finish with a better record than them to win the division. And now with the 7-9 record clinched for the Dolphins, we have clinched a playoff berth, folks. We have clinched a playoff berth. I don't know historically in the NFL how many 8-8 teams that have made the playoffs have like comfortably done so in the final week of the season, but we're one of them. We're certainly one of them. So regardless of what happens here with Detroit today, it's not going to matter because we are winners of the AFC East. So it's very unceremonious as we're looking to at best get a 9-7 record, settling for a 500 record. But at the beginning of the season, that's what I said. I wanted to match that 7-9 record and maybe hit that 8-8 500 record. That's where I wanted to be, and that's what happened. And on top of that, we managed to make it into playoffs. So, really is like the best true possible outcome. But, some questions about Cliff Harris's coaching and being able to get the team over a certain threshold, that could come into question. That could certainly come into question before long. So, 1st and 10 now for the Bills. We're going to be on offense here in the snow, by the way. I didn't even mention we got a snow game in the final week of the season. And Sammy Morris, the snow does not slow him down. If anything, the cold makes him go faster. He's just trying to warm himself up as it's a big gain on the ground along the sideline. Our big Pro Bowl running back, man. Probably one of the only Pro Bowl selections on our team, to be honest. So 1st and 10 here for the Bills. Once again, inside the 30. Pressure in Dilfer's face, but he manages to find Eric Moulds. Easy to see, I guess, those white sleeves blending in with that blue jersey downfield. As Dilfer gets a big reception here to Eric Moulds. So on goal to go here, we're going to hand it off to Sammy Morris, who does what he does best. This is just what he does, man. That's what he does. And Sammy Morris gets touchdown number 23. 23. I need to look up the record, man. I need to look up the record, OJ's records, because that's what we're racing against here. But Sammy Morris might be on record-setting pace this year. We don't know. And David Sloan is an absolutely man amongst boys here, just shoving people around and manages to get a huge gain through the air. And, Detroit's tight end situation is going to give us some fits here. And now on 3rd and goal, Charlie Batch and the boys trying to get into the end zone, and it's James Stewart, and he manages to do just that and gets himself his 13th touchdown of the season. James Stewart having a pretty good season, a pretty decent season here. In general, Detroit's a team that we need to worry about in the backfield. They're one of the few teams in the NFL around this time that has a really stellar fullback and running back tandem that we really need to be careful of, between Corey Schlesinger and James Stewart. So Detroit's going to be a very physical team in the trenches. They're going to be a team that can run the football very well. And Charlie Batch has not been the greatest this season. He's been a very mixed bag for Detroit, which I would imagine is why the Lions have struggled to put together really decent seasons. They've kind of been hovering around this 500 threshold last season and so far this season. So, and I would assume it's because Charlie Batch has been kind of all over the place here in the turnovers. Turnovers are a problem, as now Winfield manages to drop on top of a fumble, and the snow's going to make things difficult, and James Stewart coughs the football up here. That's a big blunder for the Lions, as now we have another opportunity here close to midfield. Dilfer Fires one to Westbrook, and that pass is going to be completed to get us inside the Detroit 40. And now we are cooking with some gas, folks. We are cooking with some gas. We are playing well against these Lions here, who I would assume are probably also somewhat in the playoff conversation here. With the Vikings finishing 9-7 and the Bears finishing at least a 9-7, they're probably not in the playoff conversation because I think the Packers are also in that 8-8 area as well. They might be in the 7-9, 8-8 area. We're going to look at it all, obviously, in the offseason video, but or, of course, in the playoff picture we're going to see. But I don't know if Detroit has an inside track here, but they're probably playing for something. So it's a very important game for the Lions. Not so much for us here, but I would like to at least win it and get over 500. That'd be nice. But, we can't always get what we want. But Eric Moulds here getting another first down, getting his goal to go here. Now we're running with some tempo here as we're underneath 2 minutes in the final, in the first half. And on first and goal, Dilfer flips this one quickly here, and that's what happens when you run some hurry up in the back of the end zone here. You end up getting stuff like that. You end up throwing the defense completely off its mark here, off its tracks, and you find guys that you haven't heard of, that you didn't know were on the roster, getting touchdowns. So we are competing with the Lions very well here, but Charlie Batch will not take this one lying down here as he throws up an absolute prayer of a ball and manages to find Johnny Morton, who's having an amazing season for the Lions, man. Having an absolutely incredible season. I think it's a contract year for him, so it is an incredible season that he's having here, trying to earn that money, maybe from Detroit or from somebody else. So with time expiring here in the first half, Charlie Batch, that pass is broken up across the middle. Sam Cohort able to get his hands on it and break that pass up, and that'll at least stop the clock here and give both teams a second to re-rack the deck. With 12 seconds left to go, Batch, all day to throw, takes a shot towards the end zone. That pass is caught. One-on-one coverage on Winfield's side, and it's not going to matter. Jermaine Crowell able to come down with it and get himself his 5th touchdown of the season. So that's how the second quarter is going to end, and the Lions managed to tie things up here, and now we're heading into the second half all knotted up, baby. So it's probably going to be a 4-quarter game. We could probably expect that. So the Lions now with a chance on offense. Batch gets rid of it quickly here. Pass is completed on the opposite side of the field here, and Johnny Morton able to come down with another one here. It's a guy who's boasting an over 1,100-yard season. All right, no one else on the Lions roster is doing that, but James Stewart is looking to do that with his legs as he follows the gaps here, follows his blocks, evades Duncan in the backfield. Duncan just completely lost on that play. He just, I don't know, you got to make that tackle, bud, but it's okay. First down for the Lions here. We're going to fast forward to 2nd and 4. It's another pitch play out to James Stewart, the running back, or actually it's Cedric Irvin, the backup running back. The only reason I know that is because, again, I'm a Lions fan, and I've played with these Lions in these early games before. So I'm familiar with Cedric Irvin, but Cedric Irvin, the backup running back, he's going to step in for a play here, relieve James Stewart, and he's going to get into the end zone and give the Lions the go-ahead touchdown. So I told you we had to worry about the backfield here in Detroit. They've got plenty of horses in that stable, and we haven't even seen Corey Schlesinger yet. So they've got horses in that stable, but that's all that would happen in the third quarter. The Lions taking a 21-14 point lead over us, but there's still plenty of time in the fourth quarter unless the Lions can score again. On 3rd and 10 here, we need to stop them, and we do manage to stop them. So James Stewart is tackled just shy of the line to gain here. It could be a decision here in no man's land, but no, they're going to rely on Jason Hanson's leg, and of course, why wouldn't you? Because he can make field goals like this in the snow. A 49-yard from Hanson, effortless in the elements here, even though the Lions play indoors. It doesn't matter. He just feels it in his veins, the cold. So now the Lions here taking a 24-14 lead. Now we desperately need to stop him, but we are not stopping James Stewart as he's off to the races, man. It is a foot race. Can he win it? Can he beat out the last defender? Shakes off one and misses the other one, and he's in the end zone, and that might just be the nail in our coffin, man, as James Stewart completely hoses us. Oh my God. Completely breaks this thing wide open. I've said it multiple times in this video, man. The running attack for the Lions, it's something to be feared. And it has been feared, and now on the other end, we're trying to get something working here in the back of the end zone. It's not going to happen. That pass is broken up here to Eric Moulds, so now we have a decision to make as we're trying to get desperately back into this football game by any means necessary on 4th and 10 here in the red zone. Got to get something to happen if we can. Dilfer floats it out towards the end zone. That pass is caught by Westbrook, but he does not come down in bounds. If that was out of bounds, and Prentice's catch in the Browns game, that certainly was also not in bounds, but whatever. I'll let it slide. And so we're going to eat this blowout to end the season here, a home blowout. Probably not a good omen for the playoffs up on the horizon, because I think the entire field in the AFC is better than we are. So kind of concerning of a result to end our season after playing so well in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. We end this one with an absolute stinker at home as we struggle on third down here, struggled in the red zone, kind of gave up, didn't capitalize on that last opportunity at the end of the game. Wouldn't have made much of a difference anyway. We didn't turn the ball over a lot here, just really weren't performing that well. And the Lions, at time of possession, just controlled this game from every aspect, just controlled this football game. There you see Dover trying to throw it a lot here. The completion percentage is about where it normally is for him, but clearly he was trying to throw the ball a lot here because running the football was not really working that much. So the Lions were able to snuff out our rushing attack and establish theirs. And I said it in the last video, if we're not firing on both phases of the ball here, we typically lose. And that's exactly what happened here. So, all right. So the Cardinals fired their coach here. Of course, the Cardinals have been bad the last couple seasons. It is to be expected. But it's the end of the season, so coach firings are going to happen. I believe that's the only one. We might have another one, but no, I think it's the only one. So Cardinals are the only team firing their coaches. Probably a couple coaches that could have been fired, and they're not. But so here is the look at the playoff field here. This is the wild card weekend here. So the Vikings make it. The Falcons obviously make it. We make it at 8-8. The Rams are also 8-8, and so are the Cowboys at 8-8. So we have a lot of 8-8 division winners here. The Cowboys win the East at 8-8. We win the AFC East at 8-8, and then the Rams win the West at 8-8. The new NFC West. So very interesting. Very interesting results all around in the NFL. It's a down year, obviously, in both conferences. But the Colts, we have another meeting with the Colts here. With no introduction this matchup needs. It has been a back and forth this entire series so far. We've got another chance to prove ourselves against these Colts, but they have a great team, man. So hope to see you guys in the playoffs.